Welcome back, my regenerative rapscallions with heightened reflexes and agility. I'm D, your host, also known as DKRO on Marvel Snap, and today we're going to be talking about the patch notes that came out and the best 3 decks I think to play into the new and updated cards as they exist in the game as of probably yesterday, depending on when this goes live. I have my patented anti-spoiler tech on the right. It'll be gone when you get back, don't worry, but I did get you. I want you all to know I did Alright, so there's been a bunch of text changes to a bunch of cards that don't actually change anything. So the changes that matter to us as enjoyers and players of the game are these two. Wolverine is now a 2/2. When you discard or destroy this card, regenerate it at a random location with +2 power. So I think he used to be a 2/3, and he would just continually regenerate with the same power. He would move around as he was destroyed. Now he gets plus power every time you destroy him, which is cool. It's just, it's a neat touch. It makes him better, right? If he's going to get destroyed or discarded even once, he's already a 2/4, which is fine. Notably, there's a dev note here, if you can read it, right above my head. Wolverine sees virtually no play at the moment, which is a bummer, given how iconic he is. Yeah. What's this, devs? What's going on with this card's effect, huh? Iconic. It's a bummer how iconic he is. Yeah, sit with that for a second. All right, the other change is Leader. Leader got nerfed recently from a 6/4 to a 6/3. Huge. Yeah, huge change. He's now gotten nerfed to a 6/7, which you'll notice is more numbers. But his on reveal now only copies one lane. It only copies the lane to the right of where you play him. I think this is a much better design for this card, but I do not think it is a substantial notable nerf. I think it's going to be a much more interesting card to play with and against, and that's important. So, all that, those extensive patch notes being said, what are we actually looking to play into these, with these 2 changes, right? I know it's not a lot. They did also announce that there is going to be more changes, specifically to, what is it? Zaubu and Surfer. That's right. So I postulate that this will be something like the Leader deck going forward. Now, a lot of this looks familiar, but we're going to add in, so the idea of this deck is that we're going to limit where our opponent can actually functionally play cards by playing out cards Professor X is the big one. They literally just cannot play cards here. Storm to flood a location. Cosmo, because if they're playing something where they need to on-reveal an effect, you've limited where they can play it. And that's it. We're also adding in Claw to get into a location, right? So location to the right has +6 power. So Claw will give us the sort of dynamic play patterns of being able to get into flooding when they might not know that's going to happen, get into the lockdown Professor X location in a way that they might not be able to. Same with Mr. Fantastic. We can set up we were playing Mr. Fantastic in the old Leader list anyway, because like we said, adding 2 power to any location, causing your opponent to be like, well, I have to commit a real card to beat that 2 power, and you copying that with Leader was usually enough to win you games. We're just playing sort of above board stats. Scorpion as a 2/2 is really more like a 2/5. Sentinel just gives you pretty resilient play patterns. It's not what you want to be doing, but I like having the option of just always kind of having a 2-drop to fill in other turns, right? You might want to go a Sentinel and a Lizard on 4, something like that. It's not great, but I like Sentinel a lot, and I don't really know why. Okay, Lizard's just a 2/5, great. Maximus is because it's what we have. This could also be Thor if you have the regular, not the Jane Foster Thor, the Thor, the other Thor, that shuffles Mjolnir in, because Mjolnir's a 3, or that Thor's a 3/10 if you get the Mjolnir, and Mjolnir is 0, so you can still deploy it alongside Leader. But I mean, like, Maximus is pretty good too. Maximus isn't functionally that much worse. Jessica Jones, just a solid, you know, she's a 4/8. Obviously pairs really well with Storm. Maximus or Thor could be paired really well with Storm. Leech, I actually don't know. We'll get into it, but right now I think you play Leech, but maybe not soon, as we'll talk about. So this is I think the weakest of the 3 decks. I think there's some interesting things going on here. And it's a more dynamic deck than it was, which is what they're going for, but I don't think it's as powerful as the Leader decks were in their heyday. Now this next one is definitely as powerful. I actually don't have a deck list because you've seen this deck a million times, so I'm just going to hide this so I look like a professional who knows what they're doing. This is the Mega Death deck. This is just trying to copy your Death and your Leader with Moon Girl, and being able to play out 2 deaths plus a Leader on turn 6, and locking your opponent to 1 or 2 cards, depending on if you wave, right? Or if you're just letting them play it out. And this deck actually, like, the fact that you are locking them to only playing in 1 lane, so, and that Leader now has 7 power instead of 3, it is not hard to overcome the inertia of 1 lane by going like Leader Death. Like, that'll, you know, if you're winning the middle lane on turn 6 and you're losing the left lane, you better be losing it by more than 19 power, or else you're gonna go Leader Death, win that lane, and then win the middle lane. So I think this deck probably wasn't affected by the nerfs at all. The Leader nerf before, this nerf, it doesn't matter. But it gets Wolverine, because you want sort of functionally few cards out on the field. You only have 2 ways to destroy Wolverine, but as we've already covered, destroying him once is fine. And if you just happen to Carnage and then he flips over to like an empty lane and then you Deathlock and he's like a 2/6, that's quite good, obviously. We don't really need to worry about that happening too often. Ultimately, this is just a slot for any card that we're happy to have destroyed. It could be Nova, it could be whatever. It doesn't really matter. As long as we're happy with it getting blown up, then we're happy. So it might go back to being Nova. If I get Hood, it'll probably be Hood, unfortunately. Hood is just better, or Demon is better getting Moon Girled, because then you can double Demon plus Wave on 5, and use all your mana really effectively. But as it stands, everyone has Wolverine, and it's just 1 less card you have to find in a pack to make this deck work. So just use it, right? Use it to your advantage. And then the final deck, and honestly, I think this is probably the best deck right now for the current, like, you know, buffs and debuffs. Zaubu Surfer. This is cheating. I understand that this is cheating. I don't care. I finally got this deck to work. It's going to be the deck in tomorrow's video. And it's titled Enjoy It While It Lasts, because they already announced that 2 of the cards that are really good in this deck are getting nerfed. I couldn't get the Zaubu variant. I've like kind of bellyached about this in video form before, but I could not get the Zaubu Surfer decks to work at all, and it finally clicked. Like, this list is finally working for me, and I don't really know what changed, but I've been doing really well in climbing back with this one. So I'm going to, as the title says, enjoy it while it lasts, because this deck is going to be unplayable in another week. I could already see the writing on the wall. I don't know what they're going to change about these 2 cards, but they have actively said they're going to change something, and it's just not going to be good. So I know this is kind of a cop-out. Like, you were expecting, like, maybe to use some of the cards they buffed, D, like you dickhead, but no, we're not. We're using the cards they didn't nerf that and making some plays with them. So that's it. Those are the 3 decks that I recommend you play right now. Either while you can or because you can, depending on how you see the glass, half empty or half full. I have been D, also known as DKR. Oh, I know it's been a short one, but I was recommended by someone smarter than me that I start making shorter ones. And so here we are. If you're still here at the end, thank you so much. You are the core audience for which I do this for. So if you would kindly like and subscribe? And I will see you all tomorrow with this deck list. Bye-bye.